debut day for the Berlin Bears, their second round draft pick, a man who has won millions online and no shortage of live scores either. Chris Moorman, the most winning player in the history of online MTT. Guodong and Alexandre Luneau, high-stakes cash game player and star of the documentary Nosebleed.
Oh, so I'm not live yet. Okay. Let me know when
no,
I'm
you're live.
You're live. Don't pick your nose, Sorel, because you are live.
I'm live.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Well, my name is Sorel, and I'm a very bad boy, aren't I? I was supposed to be at the table. I had strict instructions from Philip Grusom to be there at 12 o'clock Eastern. Unfortunately, I'm in Austin, Texas right now, and I thought that this was Eastern Standard Time, but it's actually Central. So there was a little mix-up, but I had outs because I was driving in my car, and Philip called me, and I'm like, okay, well, I'll just pull over and get on a laptop. But then I realized that I don't have a laptop because I left it in a hotel room that I don't know where it is. It was just some random Motel 6 in the middle of nowhere. So what I have to do is I have to look up my credit card report and my credit card receipt, and I have to find out which Motel 6 it was, so I can drive back to get the laptop. In the meantime, I drove to the closest Apple store, and I bought a laptop. What can I do, you know?
Absolute flair.
That was the only solution at the time.
Boom. No laptop rentals at the Apple Store. If you tried it before, you'll know.
All right, so.
Great little anecdote from Sorel.
We start at 100, 200. The only structure I've played so far was at 600, 1200. I must have been really late. Or the structure just goes really fast.
Yeah, there are pretty fast blind levels there, Sorel. What a great anecdote. Probably one of the strongest webcam debuts in the history of the GPL.
But, you know,
yeah,
as they'll say, like, I think I lose a point for the team. You know, I don't necessarily believe that I should lose a point, but, you know, it happens, and the rules are the rules.
Sorel Mizzi, not just a bender of rules, often a breaker.
Peeling the 9-5 suited on the button as well. Maybe putting on a bit of a show for the webcam. Loving this, Sorel.
Interesting decision here by, obviously, Alexandre Luneau deciding to play his first 3 matches, it seems, in the Global Poker League, all from just his home on Earth and not on the actual moon.
From the Batcave.
Yeah, from the Batcave. Obviously, everyone's familiar. Bruce Wayne has a pretty dark past.
Luneau turns a flush draw here. Probably going to be a turn card that he's going to want to bet, forcing Moorman off a hand like pocket sixes, possibly. Does far. And Moorman, you see, instantly releasing the best hand. And this gets through. Luneau going to check some queens there as well, along with jacks and tens and such like. Maybe even some overpairs. So can definitely fire the ace-jack and get the job done.
I would like to do a little clarification for poor Guodong. Something we haven't mentioned on the air, but I think I even thought of at the time that we didn't. We should have been more aware of is that internet, Chinese internet. Maybe that might have been an issue there with a bit slower the uptake. So, you know, that could have. Clearly, he had enough time to click it, but maybe he loses a second and a half, makes it a little tougher. Yeah. So definitely quite a cocktail. To create that situation.
Lots to talk about. Crazy first match of the week.
Loving it.
That's
anything that involves Sorel. It's why he's here.
By the way, the GPL, it's like you don't know what you're going to get. No. When you tune in, anything could happen.
Yeah. The GPL is like a box of drinking chocolates.
And Todd Brunson with the ace-queen suited going up against the man in form, Alexandre Luneau. He will be peeling in position. Not much to get excited about when you got queen 4 of spades on that flop, though. Luneau folding immediately. Yabon Dragon. Hi there, Griffcraft. Long time no speak. How is your French, guys? Aviators are back on top. Yabon Dragon, thanks for your tweets. We appreciate it here in the booth. Do join the conversation using hashtag GPL.
Yes, and follow the
GPL. Follow please. The players' accounts. Lots of great back and forth between players like Randy Liu and
yeah, you know,
Jason Lavallee.
Can I tell you a true story? You know, one of the only reasons I decided to get involved with the GPL, not just because I have a man crush on Mustafa Kanit, but also because I was hoping to get into the 5-digit territory of Twitter followers. Unfortunately, not even at 8,300. I think I got here with about 8,000. So if you'd like to follow me on Twitter, it's at Griffin Benger. And once I get to 10,000, thanks for the ride.
So Alexandre Luneau whipping out the cold 4-ball early doors, putting pressure on Todd Brunson. Todd does take his pot odds in position with the best hands, but misses this flop. And Luneau, with the initiative, with the stronger range, and with the gutter, 3 to make a wheel, will probably far out. Does C-bet, picking the same sizing he would with hands like kings and aces.
Unfortunately here, obviously not a gutter, but just a gutter to the second nutter.
And Todd Brunson folding the best holding. Could be in for another rough time. Perhaps players even targeting Todd a little bit now. Maybe so just a product of his hand.
I've been watching the GPL stream a little bit. It's kind of distracting. I should probably put that on pause. I love these two. They're back and forth. They're two of the most entertaining people in the poker world, commentating on a heat. It's just incredible. So the poker fan in me wants to watch them, but it kind of distracts from my own webcam game a little bit. So I'm gonna take a break from watching them and focus on this match and focus on what's happening here.
That's the place.
Shucks, that's cute.
Big blind. You know, that's a pretty good hand to defend to a single raise from pretty much not any position, but a lot of the later positions, I would say from, let's see, from Alexandre Luneau on. Actually, you know what? I defend against Todd Brunson as well. You raise my blind, Toddy boy. I am definitely going to defend.
Yeah, definitely not targeting Todd Brunson.
I will not let you steal my blind. I don't care if it's Jack 5. It's a hand. It's suited. I can flop a 5. I can flop a Jack. There's a lot of possibilities.
Jackson 5.
I'm letting you know right now, Todd. I am not accepting defeat in this hand so quickly, and the prophecy has come true. He made it 666, and I'm going to call, like I said, because I'm a man of my word. All right, well, that is definitely not the flop that I was looking for. So I am going to bow defeat and accept that, yeah, just accept defeat here.
Sorel Mizzi, you can see, loves the game.
This is not a good situation.
Getting excited even by the Jack 5 suited.
So in case you're wondering about the background noise, I'm actually outside of a Starbucks at the moment. There's some birds hanging out over here. Got some birdie birds. It was actually noisier when I was inside, so I decided to come outside. Still got the internet connection. Still got the internet connection. Still got the got a nice view here. This is just one of the. It's like a little strip mall in Austin. It was perfect because the Apple Store happened to be right next door to. The Apple Store happened to be right next door to the Starbucks, so I just hopped from one to another.
Moorman flopping a straight here. Yaroshevsky with third pair.
Griffin's looking really good, by the way. Griffin, he's been like working out. His hair is making a massive comeback. Wow, he's like clean shaven, Wow, I've never seen Griffin look this sharp. This is really impressive.
Shut the front door.
But
come on in for a few minutes if you want, but afterwards, shut
Griffin
the front door and
Benja
get out of my office.
Blushing a little here in the booth.
No.
Can see why Sorel does so well with the ladies. What a patter.
Jesus.
And Yaroshevsky forced to call again when he turns the flush draw. Definitely cuts down the amount of bluffs Moorman will get to the river with, but he does fire a big sizing. And Yaroshevsky, obviously, with that part of his range, going to have a very easy fold. Guodong coming in for a raise, his first raise of the day. Yaroshevsky peeling the sixes in the small blind. And Guodong flopping second pair. Fires out on a board where he has the nut combos and picks up the pot. Little cagey, the opening of this match. Apart from that, strong 4-bet from Luneau against Todd Brunson. He's put a bit of distance between himself and the others. Moorman also off to a strongish start.
Olivier Little comments on the Twitch stream. I suggest to go back to the original rules allowing just 2 seconds instead of this over-dimensional 4-second on the hot seat. The joke factor would be higher. That is certainly...
We had to beg.
Yeah,
Officer
beg
Max
to keep the
Rabinovich. He wants the hot seat to be literally scalding. And we begged him to just turn down the temperature slightly so that it's hot, but not, you know, crazy hot.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things he said was just like, hey, man, the hot seat, it's fire. It's fire.
It's on fire. 4 seconds should be enough to reach your... Do you think the fact that Sorel Mizzi looks a bit like a bear had any bearing on his selection for the Berlin Bears?
I mean, I'd really have to think about it.
And Todd Brunson just checking down the king high. King 7 high, going to beat a decent portion of Guo's range. His queen jacks, queen nines. I mean, whole host of hands, as you can see. And Don Guo, I'm not sure the purpose of this blocking bet with a7 high. Don't know whether he's trying to set the price for showdown. Unlikely that Todd Brunson, I mean, it's just not that many combos, yeah? The ace-9, ace-jack, ace-queen, and such like. And also, some chance he doesn't fold them, but Guo does pick up the pot. And Igor Yaroshevsky with what I like to call the Admiral Akbars. 2 aces.
It's a trap.
And Chris Moorman with a suited hand in the big blind. See if he's a man after Mizzi's heart. Chris does give it up.
Look at Sorel's face. There's just history there.
And Sicilian Dragon tweets in, Sorel Mizzi, absolute legend in caps. And I have to agree with him there. Great.
I mean, it looks like he's been through, like, you know, he doesn't look bad. He just looks like good and hard. Like he's been through the ringer, you know?
Grizzles.
There's a life there.
And see how Mizzi rates the king 4 off. Does fold it. Certainly would defend that hand if it was suited.
But it was suited. Here comes Alexandre Luneau. But it was suited.
From the shadows, Alexandre Luneau. And Chris Moorman with a suited wheel draw on the button immediately folds, continuing with his strategy of giving a lot of respect to Luneau and giving him a wide berth. Don't blame Moorman for that strategic adjustment.
I mean, I gotta say, I feel like it's super, you know, cliche and kind of pop culture-y to make this comparison nowadays with just the oversaturation of it, but like Luneau's got a little bit of like a vampire vibe going on. I mean, the wine in the, like the red wine in the back, you know, just that Lestat look. I mean, he looks great, but he looks like a freaking vampire.
Best vampire film of all time, in your opinion, is?
On the spot, I just have to say it. Best vampire film. I'll tell you, Buffy the Vampire Slayer is one of my favorite shows. That's a vampire show. Best film though. I've seen a lot of them. You've seen them all. I would take it.
No. I mean, I'm
No?
not too many, but it seemed like it was.
I remember I took my dad to see Blade 2 with me. That didn't go well. I mean, you know. I mean, you're familiar enough with my father. So he walked out after before the end of the first action scene.
The legendary Mr. Benja, who once referred to.
All right, so I
go
hear
for
that
it.
the Berlin Bears are not doing very well. Just gonna look up the standings real quick, see what I got to do in order to put us back on the map.
You got to win 5 of these. Sorel.
GlobalPokerLeague.com.
Test of our website design here, live on the air.
Carlos, this is a big moment for you, buddy.
Here we go. I want to see the standings. Let's see how we're doing. I know we're not doing particularly well. Hopefully over the next few days I can make something happen for the team, carry the team a little bit. You know, I'm sorry, I'm hearing some interference here. So.
Sorel will continue with the second pair. This hand obviously requiring a lot of protection from overcards.
Okay, sorry. Oh, shoot.
Paris Aviators gaining some ground with that Luneau win. Obviously, they had a huge start here in the GPL, but we're 14 points behind the Moscow Wolverines coming into this 6-max match. Luneau securing half of those and hoping to do a little more in this one.
Yeah, any day Luneau's in action, the Aviators.
I just closed the software after betting in. Did I win that hand? It doesn't look like I won that hand.
No, you did, Sorel.
That's so brutal. All right, what happened there? I don't even know if you guys can. I accidentally closed all the windows, including the poker window, and it looks like I may have bet and lost that hand and sat out immediately after. Wow, the Berlin Bears are just making mistake after mistake, and by Berlin Bears I mean me. But I was actually trying to check the standings, and I accidentally closed every single window. So I'm back. What happened was I was trying, Griffin and Squid talking about, oh, jeez.
And a 3-bet and a 4-bet from Luneau there, while Mizzi's suffering a little bit of internet. Love that Sorel's trying to put on a show for the fans.
Sorry, that's what's happening. No wonder. Okay, because when I was looking at the Global Poker League ranking, I didn't realize that you hear the commentary on the actual site itself. So I was wondering where it was coming from, and I panicked because it was disrupting my mind a little bit while I was in a hand, and I closed all the windows. So I can't look up the standings because then I would have to listen to the commentary, and listening to the commentary messes up my brain. So I'm just gonna play. You know, I'm just gonna play my hands. I got the King 5 here. This is nothing to write home about. I would, you know, I'm gonna try to do some stealthy, go to the Global Poker League website while I'm playing the hand, and while I'm playing, and try to find the rankings while putting this thing on mute. There we go. So I put it on pause. Okay, we're good now. All right. So the Global Poker League America standings. Just want a little refresher. I've seen it before, but I want to verify that we are in fact. Let's see. This is the Eurasia. We're second last right now. But you know what? That's okay. There's a lot of time, you know, and I'm coming up to bat today and tomorrow. I'm doing the heads up, so I think we're gonna get some nice big points on the board in a little bit. There's no way I'm letting Paris and Moscow win this challenge. It's just not going to happen on my watch. We're the Berlin Bears.
And I have a little faith when
We're
he
the
talks like that about the
Berlin
Berlin Bears. I have a little faith they can make the comeback.
Let's. He's still going.
Come
We gotta
on
let him
now.
go.
That's not going to last. It's like, you know, it's like what Paris does in a lot of situations. They come out strong and then they surrender. You know, that's kind of how
The Paris
the
surrender
Parisians
monkeys.
operate. So we're gonna defend here with the ace 10 of clubs. It's against Chris Moorman. He's a very aggressive player. He's definitely one to open a lot of pots, and we have a lot of history. So, you know, he knows a lot about my game. I know a lot about his. We've been playing online together since the beginning of time, basically. You know, Igor is coming in with a very lumpy raise. It's one of those raises where it's kind of like, it's juicy. It's juicy. It's too juicy to call, and he knows that, and that's why he's making it so big. Like, if he makes it 27-38, then I have to call, but 35-80, whatever, it's just a little bit too much for me.
Getting an insight into the wonderful mind that is the Mizzi.
Okay, so ace jack of hearts. This is a defend for sure. We're up against the Dong Guang.
I love
And
when he goes into defend. Like, it's like, this is my cutoff, and I have to defend it.
you know, there's no real point in re-raising here. If I had ace jack offsuit, I might elect to re-raise. But ace jack suited is one of those hands where I actually want to see a flop, and it's got more playability post flop. But ace jack offsuit, it's funny because sometimes you want to 3-bet the hands that are worse and call the hands that are better, and this is one of those cases where I believe that to be true. We have a gut shot and a backdoor flush draw here, and I'm going to peel one more because I think it's a good hand to float. Even though we are four-handed, we are drawing to the nuts. We still have ace high, which could be good. You know, Dong just he bet so small that it's so appetizing. It's just, you know, if he made a significant 25-78 bet, then
Boom.
we would have to consider it. And of course we turn the nuts because we're Sorel Mizzi, and that's what Sorel Mizzis do. Sorel Mizzis turn the nuts. You know, everyone has a style, and this is my style. I call for the gut shot, and I hit it. And what else is my style is that I make it 3,500 on the turn, or I check.
And against Guo's actual
No, I bet.
hand.
About 3,500. He could have like a queen and not be wanting to fold. I mean, I think both are fine. I could check, but it's, you know, because the reason why check might be better is because I'm probably only getting one street when he checks the turn here. That being said, he's Dong Guo, you know, and I don't know anything about him.
Correction.
But he
he's
seems like the type of person that might call two streets. I can just see it in his eyes, you know. Okay, so we're gonna bet 80.
Stereotypes here
you know,
at the GPL.
how I think a 7,500, 75-44 kind of juice is what we're looking at here. And he snap calls me. That's good. Okay, so I was right about him. I was right about Dong all along. I was right about Dong all along. I'll be a poet before I know it. All right, so, you know, just to give you guys some background about what I know about the players here, Chris Moorman is the person I've played with the most, and, you know, I have the most respect for him just because he's a world-class player, world-class guy, like just really, really talented player. Like, I've never, you know, no one has the results that Chris Moorman has online. And, you know, he's starting to make a nice little name for himself in the live world as well. I mean, not starting. He won, I believe he won the LAPC, which was his, like, live win debut, if I'm not mistaken. And, you know, he's made a couple nice runs in Aussie Millions. I remember one year he made my life absolutely hell. Like, I mean, I should have known, right? Like, I'm to the right of Chris Moorman, and I'm deciding to play like a VPIP of like 37. Of course I'm going to get destroyed. So that's what happened. I got destroyed. And I've learned my lesson since then. But now the tables have turned, haven't they, Mr. Moorman?
And
I am
Guodong
to your
all
left,
in with pocket
and
tens
He shot so fast.
and
He's
horrible
been good
spot.
shape.
and when you have position, you could put me. Here's the thing. Doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter how good of a poker player you are. If I have position on you,
And
you're at a
Guodong
disadvantage.
spikes
You know, that's
at
how it works.
10.
Position is so huge, and Chris, being the smart poker player that he is going to adjust to that. Unlike what I did in the Aussie Millions
Full house
3 or
for
4 years ago, where I
Guodong
didn't
and
adjust
a
to it.
big
I
double
just
up.
decided, oh well, Chris Moorman's to my left. I'm just gonna play as if he's not, and maybe he'll think that I'm playing tighter because he's to my left, and that didn't work out very well for me. It was I kind of got a little bit owned, and by a little bit I mean I wanted to quit poker and like go home to my mom and dad and tell them that the run is over. But going back to my point, doesn't matter. Phil Ivey could be to my right. It doesn't matter who you are. If I have position on you, you're not going to have an edge on me no matter what. So position is key when it comes to playing against really good players.
Sorel Mizzi.
But there's a lot of good players here. Igor Yaroshevsky. He's someone that I've played with quite a bit live. He's obviously very talented. Everyone here is incredibly talented. The only person I haven't ever played with is Dong Guo, and I probably have played with him online at some point. Now I'm going to check here because I really only see myself getting 2 streets. I mean, I could bet, and betting is usually what I do, and it's kind of a little bit. It's a little bit polarized when I check and then bet here, which is why I think after this is betting on the flop is better than check. I made a bad play here, but it's all going to work out because I'm going to bet 3,890 on the river. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to bet 3,973 on the river, and he's going to call with 8, 9 of diamonds.
And Igor Yaroshevsky with 2 kings.
Or he's going to raise, and then I'm going to hate my life.
Can the Moscow
And that's why
Wolverine
betting on the flop is better here. Because when you bet
away
on the
from his
flop,
hand?
then you can check the turn, and then you see what he does. But now I'm like in a very vulnerable position. Because checking on the flop shows a lot of weakness. I mean, I'm never going to check the flop with like a huge hand. So I just opened up an opportunity for him to like own me essentially, and I'm okay with it.
Igor
If he
not
goes all
thinking
in,
about
I'll
raising, I
fold,
don't think.
and
Thinking about what worse hands Sorel Mizzi plays this way. Would he run a bluff in this manner? The ace-high board's so favorable for the pre-flop raiser. Mizzi's likely to bluff the flop rather than check and then go bet as a bluff. And that's why Igor is taking his time here. So frustrating when you slow play the kings and an ace flops, but he does call.
Can we see what he had? I guess that play, my unconventional play worked out here.
And Sorel Mizzi of the Berlin Bears off to a great start in the second heat. Turned up late for the last 6-match match
So
and was
let's get
doctor
into
point.
some strategy here. Well, we got Dong Guo. I saw a little bit of how he played. He seems pretty like tight aggressive. Alexandre Luneau, he's Luneau, pardon me. He's like a French mixed game player, and this probably isn't his. This probably isn't really his like forte. So I think like you know, obviously he's one of the best all-around players in the world, as far as I know. He is one of the best. Like, he's like the Phil Ivey of France, because he's just like good at all the games. But people who are good at all the games usually aren't as good at No Limit, because the reason for that, I would say, is because when you play mixed games a lot, you kind of get into this like extremely you get into this like very mechanical mind frame, where your mind is very much about like it's mechanical. It's like check, call, bet, call. Your mind works differently when you are good at all the games. It happens. Like, I mean, even someone like Phil Ivey, who's probably the best all-around player in the world, isn't as good at No Limit as people think he is fundamentally.
And both players with a straight
hit. A lot
here.
of the reason is because it's difficult. It's difficult to become a master at all games. So anyway, that's just my line of thinking.
Masterclass conversation.
Loving Sorel.
Yeah.
Sharing some knowledge, sharing some insight. Don't know whether he's completely correct about Luneau, who has proved a formidable talent in No Limit Hold'em in the GPL.
Right, but made clear that he wasn't really, you know, hasn't been watching it. So, Sorel, a very busy man, a man of the world.
And Moorman snaps it off. Straight, over straight.
Tomorrow, guys, 11:30 a.m. Pacific time, 2:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central European time. We got Dario Sammartino against Igor Gorgonov of the London Royals.
A heavyweight contest, to be sure.
Even though they were both very skinny guys, but heavyweights.
And Sorel Mizzi going to continue giving some action.
Opening a lot of pots. That's especially with the blinds and antes as big as they are. This is a fine open. You know, like normally tight is right in these sit and goes, especially when you have like a push stack. However, once in a while, there's nothing wrong with opening the old 5-7 suited. You know, it's a good hand. We got Dongguo in the big blind, who's been shown to be pretty tight, and he's not going to defend that much. And I stand by it.
And Dong did, in fact, release an ace in the big blind when a lot of players would have defended it. So Sorel making a good adjustment. And Todd Brunson with a very awkward sack. Elects to fold the queen jack suited, queen jack off rather. Don't blame him for that tight play. 20 big blinds and not a stack you want to be opening too liberally off. And this is the second of 4 six-max matches today. The second in the Eurasia Conference. Alexandre Luneau secured the win and 7 points in today's previous match, defeating Guo Dong of the Hong Kong Stars in a heads-up confrontation. And Luneau checking back the king high and folding the turn to Chris Moorman.
Sorel like, playing with the pigeons.
It's like Snow White. All the animals are going to come and rest on his shoulder, you know?
I actually have a good friend of mine that has a severe fear of pigeons. He's a really big, strong guy too. It's quite funny to see. I mean, it's torturous for him, of course, until I was on that level. But it's really funny to watch. It is, yeah. I'm sorry, it's so funny. A pigeon will just go by. This guy could take out 3 Mies, and you know he's just terrified.
Yeah, that old test of strength.
I'm not going to say his name. I'll say his name. Shout out to. No, I'm just kidding.
Shout out to Connor Drinnan if he's watching his fear of pigeons. They think this man is a flawless human being, but actually his Achilles heel, the gods created Connor Drinnan with one weak spot, a fear of pigeons. You know, my sister can't stand milk.
I did know that, actually. She told me.
Yeah. Or, wow, he's sitting out. That was a great limp.
It's all coming up Mizzi.
I was going to say a limp or fold. Or I could raise, actually. I mean, all 3 options are fine there. I would say, in order of which one is better, I think it goes limp, raise, fold.
Unless your opponent's sitting out, in which case...
But when he's sitting out, I think it's a clear limp.
Yeah.
Just in case he comes back really quickly.
And Guodong with the ace-5 suited.
Seems like he's sitting
in
out.
for
That's
a raise.
good news.
Chris Moorman, we probably would have seen him open the 10-8 suited in the first match, but a little bit shorter, and with two tough opponents on his left, makes a tight fold. And Igor Yaroshevsky is going to come in for a raise with the king, and in fact, sorry, a jam with the short stack on the button. And Luneau makes a quick call with the ace high. Yaroshevsky is at risk of the donut. This would really harm top of the table Wolverines. And some opportunities, but it bricks off, and Igor Yaroshevsky eliminated for 0 points. Everyone at the table going to be relieved to see a talented player exit, and everyone lock up a point for their franchise. Todd Brunson avoiding the double donut.
First.
What were you going to say?
Nothing.
And Guodong with 6-7 suited in the big blind. Does call. And flop third pair on a board that is immensely favorable for the under the gun opener. Does have the backdoor flush draw. And Guodong immediately releasing. I think it's going to be very hard to make that defend profitable if you are folding when you flop a pair and a backdoor flush draw. Chris Moorman going to be c-betting that board with close to 100% frequency. I think even though it's hard to steer the 6-7 to showdown, there are ways to improve. And yeah, like Guodong, a little out of step with contemporary poker thinking.
And internet, apparently.
And that's going to be, you know, it's going to be very hard to overcome these top players if you make it folds like that. And Chris Moorman turning it straight here. Again, Luneau, much as we saw Bousquet and Fedor Holtz doing, not c-betting with as high a frequency as a lot of these players. Checks back, and frustrating for Moorman that he doesn't put a chip in the pot after Moorman makes the nuts. Luneau, someone very controlled with his frequencies. Diane Dawson tweeting in, Sorel Mizzi loving the running commentary, entertaining. Another one keeping Squid Poker and Griffin Benja quiet. Yeah, we are happy to be put into the shade by these talented poker players. Great of Sorel to share so much of his insight. Real live wire character, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. Top party boy. Guy, fun guy to go for a beer with.
A beer?
Oh yeah.
Is that what you guys have?
Oh yeah.
Here. Todd's got just a little bit too little, to the point where I'd have to pull to a shove, and I'm just not comfortable opening queen eight there. Especially Alexandre's big blind, like he's going to defend quite a bit, I think. That's the thing about limit players. That's the thing about players who are used to playing mechanical games, is that they do defend a little bit too much
and
for me
Todd
to open
Brunson
there. And not
all
in,
and Alexandre Luneau
like,
with the Cowboys behind him. You've got to feel for Todd Brunson here. Automatic shove with 10 big blinds with the suited ace queen. Can see crushing Chris Moorman's opening range and his actual hand. But in this instance, going to be bad news for Todd Brunson, because at least one ace being folded here. Well, one ace being folded. And Luneau just taking his time, balancing for when he does have tougher decisions than this. All in. And Todd Brunson is at risk. Flops a queen. Will need a queen or an ace.
We know one ace has been folded here.
Alexandre Luneau in great shape to knock out Todd Brunson. And Rivers top set. Todd Brunson of the Rome Emperors out for a solitary point. Real disappointing showing today. bad news for Rome Emperors, who will finish the day bottom of the table.
No progress made for Todd Brunson and the Rome Emperors. No good for the Italian squad right now. Nothing going their way, but at least Chris Moorman can maybe trap Sorel Mizzi.
Chris Moorman, 20 big blinds, comes in for a raise with the Akbars.
This is a hand I could defend. I could also
Don't
3-bet
do it,
here.
Sorel. It's a trap.
I could defend, I could 3-bet, or I could fold. And I'm going to opt to defend. But all three options are really fine here.
I'm inclined to agree. I think that
the reason a 3-bet might be okay is because it just kind of, it's one of those inflection point spots where, okay, you have to shove or you have to fold. There's no other option.
Is it an inflection points? Or is it inflection?
Inflection points, yeah.
Well, he's in the... I didn't mean to correct him. I was actually just curious because I figured he would know better than me.
Chris Moorman there, flopping a little bit too strongly. Forced a continuation back because he would do so with so much of his range. Obviously, slightly wet board as well. Does want to get a little bit of protection. And Luneau, someone so comfortable taking pot odds, defending the 5-10 off. And Moorman checks back the ace-5. Quite a dangerous thing to do against a player of Luneau's talent. Don't think he'll attack with this particular hand. And Moorman.
Can we start calling the 10-5 the late for work? You're supposed to end to work at a 9 to 5 job, 10 to 5, late for work. No?
That's what you do.
Not bad. Needs some work.
Do tweet in if
if you approve or disapprove
no,
of
do tweet in
the 10-5 off late for work.
I think this is a good spot to open.
And probably not going to work out because Guodong, the ace-jack. Very standard shove there. And Alexandre Luneau is our chip leader. Sorel Mizzi also with a comfortable stack size. All players with over 20 big blinds. Still anyone's game. We saw in the last match, Chris Moorman go from chip leader to out in just a couple of hands. Things can change very fast in this format. Four-handed, there's a lot of callers.
Guys, when you get a second, do Sam and I a favor. Check out globalpokerleague.com to give your feedback about the GPL. We want to hear how you think we can improve, what you like, what you don't like. You know, it'll really help us give you guys the best content, the best product moving forward. Love, Griffin. XOXO, Griffin Girl.
Sorel Mizzi, apart from Aaron Paul, is he the last to make a debut? Is anyone else we're missing? The last debutant here in
Griffin Bencher, Season 2, Episode 1, buddy. The twist. I would go from being the eye in the sky to right in the thick of it. I don't know. I'd have to look. Can we ask Eric?
I think
Eric's the guy.
And Guodong folding the King 5 suited. Really think it's going to be very tough for Guodong to win these, be a winning player in this 6-max format. He's folding such strong holdings to cut off opens against a player as loose as Chris Moorman. An interesting flop here. Chris Moorman with an open-ended straight draw. Luneau with 2 pair, and Luneau snap checks back. While this hand does benefit from protection.
I have just gotten confirmation.
Hard to get through streets. Does call a bet, and Moorman on the river makes the best hand with the 10, and pretty close to a value bet the way this hand has gone down. And Chris Moorman showing the strength of his hand reading ability.
Nice and
Value bets very thinly on the river. Love that from Chris Moorman.
Classic Moore.
Yeah, I mean, that is classic Moorman. He goes for value where he can get it. Obviously, we see that he has adjusted a little bit his strategies against Luneau. But when it does come to a situation where he has a hands of value bet.
We fought middle pair. We're going to call pretty much any size bet here. If he checks, we're going to check behind. This is one of those spots we're probably only getting at 1 or 2 streets of value unless we improve. I'm even going to check behind here as well. Just, there's no point in betting. If he bets, we're going to call, and we're going to see what happens on the river.
And Moorman does far here. Don't really love this from Chris. Not sure if he's really bluffing or betting for value. Very hard to improve with this hand.
All right, that's not a good river. If he bets the river here, we're going to fold.
This specific holding, though, Mizzi indicating he would fold. I wonder if Moorman does fire, checks the river, and Mizzi picks up the pot.
Interesting line there by Mr. Moorman.
I have just received confirmation that Sorel Mizzi is the last debutante, other than, of course, some actor that was on some TV show.
Sure.
Sorel
Bryan
Mizzi.
Cranston.
I think it might be the guy who played Gustavo Fring.
Ah, okay, cool.
Yeah,
And
super villain.
All right, we got Bucket Dan.
Sorel Mizzi getting excited.
3,500.
But there can only be one, and Mizzi is currently the last. That will change.
So Chris Moorman and Sorel
This is just
Mizzi.
going to be our standard open range or raise for this level, unless we lose a bunch of chips. But we want to keep it consistent.
Both with big stacks. Alexandre Luneau with a hand
Minis are quite big.
he could jam or just call with. Does rip it in.
You might even say he's gripping it.
Not going to call here with King Queen. If we had Ace Queen, definitely consider a call there. But King Queen is just not strong enough. This is not Poker Stars.
Mizzi referring to the fact that we often a lot of players refer to King Queen as the Poker Stars nuts. A hand which always seems to get there.
Make a nice juicy open here, 4,000. We have a gut shot and 2 unders. Yeah, that's a good hand to open. I mean, are fine, you know. With that, there's a lot of situations we've been involved in this tournament where all options have been fine, and all options always are fine. It's all about finding what is the best option, what is game theory optimal, and the game theory optimal approach to that hand is probably to raise. We're both deep stack. I have Jack 9. I mean, I have a face card and the card like it's a 2-gapper. 2-gap offsuit hand. I mean, it's
so 1-gapper, Sorel.
Yeah, it's a 1-gapper. Yeah.
So a lot of people would fold, and there's no fault in that. A lot of people would limp in, and there's no fault in that either. The reason I don't like limp is because you can't really limp call. With a hand like Ace X, you can limp call, but with a hand like Jack 9, it's not really the limp call type of hand. So you just have to be weak and limp fold.
Chris Moorman with pocket 5. Sorry to interrupt Sorel there, but Chris Moorman will put Guodong at risk. Second time Guo has been at risk, and he flops a big draw.
Guo actually the favorite on this board texture, and that's why.
And 10 in the pen, again saving Guo. And another big moment for the Hong Kong star, who laddered like a boss into second in the last match. And he's still alive and kicking here in the second contest of the day. Very frustrating for Chris Moorman. That pot would have given him the chip lead, but now stacks very even. Sorel, Mizzi with a slight chip advantage. Luneau also comfortable, but these guys, not much to pick between them in terms of stack size. And Chris Moorman could open jam here. Saw Sorel raise fold this hand earlier. I guess that's what Moorman's opting for here. Especially against Guo, who doesn't defend his blind as widely as other players. I think taking a lower variance option and making a raise there is probably the best thing to do. Chris, so aware of changing dynamics in games, exploiting opponents. One of the things that's led to him winning millions in online tournaments. Todd Brunson tweets, "I just never win a freaking hand at GPL." Got a feel for Todd.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, all kidding aside, Todd Brunson definitely running well below expectation here at the GPL, but can't excuse the fact that definitely shown some leaks in these particular formats, but something I'm sure that he's working with the rest of his very talented team to be better next time.
It's very, it's tricky, you know, if I raise and he shoves, then I have to fold. If I check behind, it doesn't look like I have an ace. So I think checking behind here is the play. And we're definitely going to call one on a board like this.
Chris turning to pair to go with this guy.
And it's a good card for my hand.
Chris Moorman.
Ace deuce is going to be the best hand here a lot.
Rivers a full house, and as Sorel indicates, ace deuce not going to be an automatic fold if Moorman bets.
I don't see him bluffing very often here.
Sorel reading the situation correctly.
He could be value betting a better ace, but unlikely because he probably would not check, or he probably wouldn't limp in.
Tough spot for Mizzi. Possible Moorman could value bet a hand like ace-queen or ace-king here. But seems like Mizzi's going to have a lot of 6x himself.
Tempted to call here, but...
Mizzi working it through. Is getting a good
Doesn't seem like
price.
a good spot to bluff, but he knows that. I know that.
So much history between these two warriors of the internet poker era. Makes the call.
All right, nice hand, Chris. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem like a good spot to bluff, but he knows I know that,
And Sorel Mizzi.
6 makes sense, though. 6 definitely makes sense. But you know what else would make sense is one of those Chris Moorman bet for no reasons. So I just had to decide what made the most sense, and I was wrong. Did not want to see that.
Guo Dong all in. Really like that rejam. Suited aces, suited wheel aces, play so well against the top of people's ranges. It's a very profitable jam there.
Okay, we got pocket sevens here. I mean, we're gonna call a shove from any one person. That's not a good flop for our hand, but we do have a diamond, so we're gonna check back here.
Chris Moorman out-flopping Mizzi's 2 sevens. And I wonder if Chris starts to bet this hand for value and protection on the turn. Yes, he does.
Fold.
And Mizzi showing his class, immediately releasing. Recognizing he has some ace-x, he checks back there. Some kings and queens with flush draws or gut shots. So we can release the pocket sevens. So astute, these guys. So quick to release a hand when they feel it's no good. And Guo Dong with a pretty loose open on the button into Pretty tough neighborhood there. Guodong finds himself in, unafraid. And it's actually Sorel Mizzi, who's been chip leader for so much of this match, who is our shortest stack with just 11 big blinds. This contest is going to be settled by such fine margins once we enter this blind level. Chris Moorman, the chip leader, with just 22 blinds. And Alexandre Luneau, with Queen Jack off, takes the profitable jam. If you're...
It's a little bit unconventional, but I think we're going to raise here. Just make it a min raise. I'm not planning on calling a shove, but it's just kind of one of those spots that it looks strong, and it's a good hand that connects with a lot of boards. So if Chris does decide to defend, we're not in bad shape.
Yeah, if you're just joining us, second
with
match
that
of the
stack
day.
size, generally
First one won by
I don't make
Alexandre
that
Luneau of the Paris
move.
Aviators.
But once in a while.
All in, and Mizzi can't call. First match won by Alexandre Luneau. Guodong, second place. Those guys still in contention here in the second match of the Eurasia
Please
Conference.
call the number provided as soon as possible. You will be guided for the removal of the adware spyware virus on your computer.
Something popping up on Sorel Mizzi's new laptop. He told us that he got the time wrong of the first match today and went and bought a new laptop in order to be able to compete in the first match of the day. And maybe some spyware warnings popping up. Sorel Mizzi making his debut today for the Berlin Bears. Chris Moorman also will be desperate to register a first win for the London Roars.
I thought you heard him say register the big 22 or something.
Well, he'll be desperate to do that as well. But
On the button I fold. That's kind of how I play that hand.
Sick fold from Sorel Mizzi with the ace deuce off. Not sure of his thinking there. Says that he doesn't shove that hand on the button. I mean, pretty sure charts will tell you it's a profitable jam, but Sorel Mizzi, someone that has won huge amounts online and live, playing his style. 11.
Snap folds the ace-4 under the gun as well for just four-handed.
Yeah.
Missing some ace-x shove spots. Clearly someone who prefers to
lower his variance, I guess.
Yeah.
Or
thinks he, yeah. Interesting, really interesting.
Find really profitable. Turn down some small edges to find big edges later on. And Guodong with pocket threes, all in for the 20 bigs. Because also, this is a pretty tough lineup. I mean, okay, he's going to have a big edge on Guo, but Chris Moorman and Luneau, not necessarily some players you can pass up profitable shove spots against.
So we're getting into the push-fold mode right now. We got just under 10 beebs. But we're playing pretty short stack. Everyone, you know, it's a pretty even game. Everyone has 10 to 20 big blinds right now, so it's kind of a matter of who gets the best hand in the best position, and let's let it run out type of deal. So
Really interesting, the folds from Sorel.
I'm the shortest stack, so I'm going to have to make something happen really soon.
Yeah, and you'll see the contrasting style. Chris Moorman open jamming 20 big blinds with an ace-2 suited. Obviously, ace-2 suited, a stronger hand than ace-2's off, but with twice the stack size. Chris Moorman, someone that does embrace the variance. You know, famous, really, for being one of the first players to play a very aggressive pre-flop strategy. And here comes in for a raise with the 7 deuce off. I think this is, sorry, 7 deuce suited. This is going to work a bunch of the time, but on this occasion, Guodong with the pocket kings. And I mean, I think you should probably just jam here. This looks exceptionally strong. If Chris did have a hand like ace 10 that he was raise calling, might be inclined to find a fold there. Guodong repping exactly the kind of hand he has with that kind of limp re-raise. Who knows? Perhaps it opens up bluff opportunities in the future that he has a limp 3-bet range that's not all in. And Sorel with the suited jack.
Take one off.
You know, the Germans would defend this. And because the Germans would defend this, I'm going to defend it.
There we go, Sorel.
They actually say the less you have in this spot, the better it is to defend.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of people would disagree with this, but, and you know what? I disagreed with it for a long time. And I still kind of disagree with it. But the Germans are never wrong. So, and look,
well,
we
I
get
don't know
rewarded.
about that one.
The German gods reward us with the Kungens, the very next hand.
Unfortunate for Sorel, Luneau would just fought
so
high.
As if that mistake never happened. Or brilliant play that didn't work out. Whatever, however you want to look at it. But I do know that Igor Kurganov and Philip Brunson, I mean, I don't know for sure, but I would say that I would approve of that play. And that's, to me, that's all that matters. Got to make my German people proud.
Yeah, Sorel referencing a trend in high-stakes poker led by the German high rollers of peeling flops of very, very short stacks, where it used to be considered for a long time really poor play to see a flop of that stack size was normally that you were either all in or folding, but those
days are over.
Yeah, those days are
those
over.
days I had all the money.
And Guodong not jamming the ace-4 off, coming in for a raise. And this is going to allow Chris Moorman to jam a worse hand, in inverted commas, slightly worse in terms of equity, King-Jack high. And now Guo facing the decision with a pretty measly looking ace-4 off.
You know that the Hong Kong Stars
fold.
players are always good for at least one bet with the naked ace from the small blind.
Well, I mean, the thing is that's one of the reasons some players shove the ace-4. Chris Moorman might be then inclined to fold the King-Jack, might be being a little bit results-orientated. Obviously, Chris Moorman not just shoving any 2 cards in that spot, but does allow Moorman to buffer his stack slightly. And these guys...
All right, ace-8 here is definitely a shove in the small blind. If I'm taking this long, I'm happy with a call or a fold. Pretty sure I have the best hand.
Tough spot for Luneau facing the 5 big blind jam. Pretty sure if this was 4 big blinds, he would call 6 or 7. Definitely fold right on the cusp.
Pretty much shove any ace, any king, queen 7 plus type hands. Maybe even a little less than that. I mean, the blinds are huge, the antes are huge. You gotta stay afloat in these things.
And Guodong raising with the Jack 10. And Luneau folds the 10-9 off. Really interesting. Luneau facing a covering stack, opting to play tight with Mizzi so short. Come on, Sorel, put this in, mate.
I think this is a reluctant shove.
Yeah, you got to
pretty
jam
close.
Up,
King 10 is a for sure shove. King 9 suited is a for sure shove. King 9 off. Yeah, I think you have to shove.
And he will be called by the
All right,
ace.
we're going to get called by ace 5.
And I'd love to see Sorel hit a king or a 9 here, given so much to this match.
Give me a Lunkin. Give me a Lunkin. Come on, the Lunkin.
King or 9.
Give me that Lunkin. Oh.
And we lose.
Sorry, Berlin Bears.
Sorel, Mizzi.
Not my day today.
Sorel
And
Mizzi,
we are
been a
going
real treat.
to-
Been a real treat having him
We're gonna
on
miss
webcam.
him.
We're gonna miss
him a lot.
Strong webcam game, as we predicted. Sorel Mizzi. More of him tomorrow in the heads-up format, where he will be facing off against Davide Katai. Don't miss that one tomorrow. Great stuff from the Mizzinator, as you like to call him, Griff.
Yes.
Top boy. And Chris Moorman now three-handed with the chip lead against Guo Dong. And Guo with the ace-5 all in. Seems like Guo very aware of his ranges, pretty good at this stack depth. And I wouldn't like to predict who's going to win this match. Certainly Chris Moorman, slight favourite here. Luneau and Guo Dong with a strong showing. Remember, these guys came first and second in the first match of the day. So real strong performances. Real opportunity for all three of these franchises. Started the day second, third, and fourth to close the gap on the Wolverines. And here's the great man, the Moormani, the captain, Chris Moorman.
Come on, Chris, give us more, mate.
I was talking to my dad actually after the first match, and he had some interesting theories. He told me that I should play tighter and not bluff. He didn't like my bluff, and also he was like, "What happened?" Because he was watching it work, and I was obviously 1 of 5, and by the time he got back from work, I was out.
Big shout out to Simon Moorman, one of the top poker dads out there. Won a live tournament before Chris Moorman ever did. GKPT Manchester champion. True lad, top boy.
My father doesn't even know how to spell poker.
And Chris Moorman turning the Jack-9 into a bluff on this river, recognizing Guo's range is weak.
Also, he had an interesting theory about why Sorel didn't turn up on time. I said it's obviously because Sorel's unorganized and useless at stuff like that. But he seemed to think that Sorel was watching the stream and watching how everyone was playing, and was adapting to how loose I was playing and was going to bash me up. So I'm Moorman, so obviously knows what's what.
It's amazing.
Big shout out to Sai. And Luneau with an ace-8, and he's all in. And Guo Dong with a great opportunity to get heads up here. Alexandre Luneau is going to need an 8 or an ace, or he will be eliminated in third. A jack would do it now. A jack or an 8. And it bricks off.
Okay, heads up.
Big pot for Guo Dong. Luneau adding 3 points to the 7 secured in the first match.
Luneau fading away.
Maybe we're going to see Guo Dong on the webcam.
Man, that'd be very exciting. I want to see the Guo Dong interview.
I want to see Guo in the house. And Chris Moorman famously lost many times heads up, broke that curse with his LAPC victory, but did lose heads up in the 10K 6 Max at the World Series, and then in the World Series of Poker Europe to Elio Fox. For a long time, the subject of much banter amongst the English pros that he couldn't close out wins. Can he register a first win for the London Roars today? His first win in this format. Obviously, this time last week, we saw Sam Trickett registering 7 points. Alibari, also a winner in this format. The London Roars really rising in the Eurasia Conference.
Bit weak to defend, and can't really 4-bet fold with the stack or shoving just seems to be weak, so bye-bye.
And Chris folds. We won't be getting Guo Dong. Apparently, his internet not strong enough.
If he is playing aggressive 3-bet strategy, though, I might just start limping everything and keeping the pot smaller in position.
And this is interesting. Guo limps in with the king-queen.
Yeah. I think I'm just going to shove. It's kind of a bit crude because like my hands face up has been pretty weak, like kind of what it is, but you can't really do much to do anything about it. And if I check, I just, don't want to raise. Just gonna shove.
And Guo Dong now with a decision does call with the king-queen.
Off to the races.
Counterfeit outs now for Guo Dong. A 5, a 10, a jack,
Too many
a king,
outs, Dom.
a queen.
Too many outs.
It is too many outs. The yard on the river.
All right, let's finish him.
Chris Moorman, huge pot there, winning a big flip, and now has Guodong out-chipped 4-1, and he picks up a pair.
Lemon raisin juice. I would if I had slightly bigger pair, I think. I mean, he doesn't defend enough, so maybe I should just memorize this.
Great spot for Moorman 1. Guodong down to a stub. 10 big blinds.
Get those blinds up. Give him a short stack.
Guo calls all
Queen
in with the
three.
queen high. And spikes a 3.
7 from heaven. 6. 6 was what? 5's okay. 6. Oh.
And it bricks off.
All right, game on again.
Chris Moorman doing our job for us. It
They never
certainly
make it easy.
is game on. Guodong with 20 big blinds now. Chris Moorman only with a slight chip advantage now. Wow, what a jam
All right, I'll
from
be starting my limp track now. I
Guodong.
think of the stack depth.
Certainly a profitable jam, but think there are more subtle ways to play a hand that flops that well.
I really wanted to make the first limp a strong one though, because like as Sam and Griffin always say, no one limps. The first one is a strong one, but I'm afraid, guys, it's a weak one.
Chris Moorman, a GPL fan, who would have thunk it?
I always knew. I saw it in his eyes.
Could check this back, but I think it's just.
I'd love to see
just about
Guo
here. I don't
call
think it'll
here.
float me enough.
Think this hand is strong enough to call a bet on this board. Some good backdoors, and actually goes for a check raise. Think this is a great option as well. Puts Moorman's hand, the Queen 4, in an absolute coffin.
Really
And other
believe
parts of
this.
his range are pressurized as well. And Chris Moorman not giving up here immediately. Does float one off with the Queen high. And this is, wow, Guo fars again.
Still not a huge believer, but not much can do now.
Wow, Guodong. I mean, in truth, he actually bluffed Chris off a worse hand. So that does show the limitations of that strategy.
Yep.
But got the job done, and chip stacks neck and neck. Oh my
Wow.
days, what's Guo doing?
Guess I got to call this off.
All in with
Not
the King
ideal.
4 off.
I guess I got to call.
Overly
Yeah.
aggressive
Deuces,
strategy
ace
from
deuce, something like that.
Guodong. And
Wow.
Moorman in
King
great
4's good.
shape.
Nothing silly.
And
D's turn.
King needed, or Guodong down to 3.5 big blinds.
Oi, oi.
Chris Moorman limping the pocket fives,
All right, better not lose from here. It would be pretty embarrassing. But
traps Guodong, and Chris Moorman on the
it's been
cusp
crazy comeback.
of a first victory here at the GPL. And he has a dominating King.
Oh, get to win the hand. Get to win the match with the midi. This is
Tom
perfect.
Middleton's favorite hand, the King 10. Flops a 10.
Bingo.
No clubs on the flop. Guodong needs a miracle.
Bingo.
GG Dong. GG.
And
2
Guodong,
seconds though. It's pretty good performance for the Hong Kong.
Ah, Chris Moorman.
Glad to finally get a win.
bongo,
Oh,
bongo.
5th time lucky, huh?
and Chris Moorman with a victory. 7 points for the London Royals.
Congratulations to Chris, his first win here at the GPL. You got a big smile on your face about it. Big Chris Moorman fan, old friends. Really nice to see Chris do well. Of course, the first match going to Alexandre Luneau. He gets 3 more points here for the 3rd place finish. But Guodong, sorry. We're going to get that graphic fixed. Switch up the names. Other way around. It's Guodong. 2 second-place finishes. I'm happy for the Hong Kong Stars, especially, Guodong. I mean, at the end, they're playing a little high variance. Maybe just saying, you know what, you superstars, let's play high variance. If you're going to make me fold my hand, I mean, we love that fiery attitude here at the GPL. Guodong not taking any crap from us at the booth or the fans back home. I'm all in, and that's the fun thing about poker.
Yeah, a little bit reckless.
I mean, I'm on Guodong's side here.
A little bit reckless there from Guodong at the end, but as you say, 2 really strong finishes. 10 points is going to make a big difference in maintaining and increasing that gap between Hong Kong Stars in 4th and Berlin Bears and Rome Rofflers, who are outside the playoff spots at the moment. Lots to celebrate, really, in that match. Certainly the great webcam game of Sorel Mizzi.
Yes.
And
the lover
Chris
of red
Moorman,
grapes. I only have
the
green ones,
captain, the Englishman in the London Royals side, putting up a win, a big 7 points. He's going to be absolutely delighted.
Yep.
Top-class player, top-class guy. I think Laura has the pleasure of interviewing the great man. Let's go over to her in the lounge.
Thanks, guys. Congratulations to the London Royals and Chris Moorman picking up 7 points there for the London Royals. That was the first win for him. Congratulations, Chris. First time you've won out of 5, you just said. Is it good to get that monkey off your shoulder?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, not even just the first time I've won out of 5. I haven't made the last 3 players before, so yeah, not to come 4th or 5th, definitely a bit of a relief.
Was that just bad luck?
I'd hope so. I made a couple of tiny mistakes, but nothing like that really I was that sad about kind of thing. But obviously you need to win the all-ins in the format, so yeah, it was nice to finally win a couple.
What did you think about that final all-in by Guodong with the King 4 there?
I think it's okay. Like, obviously he's got king blocker, and I'm limping like everything I was going to play, so it's going to work a lot of the time. And I'm not going to call him there with like a king 9 hand, so he gets me to fold some better hands. So yeah, I think it's fine to up the variance kind of thing. Like, just nice to actually have a hand I could call when held.
And what will your dad say now?
I don't know. Like, he'll probably still say that he could have done better, but he would have won it quicker or something like that.
But did you actually listen to him there? Is this the reason that you have won this, because you listened to your dad?
Obviously, like, you saw that I played slightly tighter than I won, so he'll tell me that he's a great coach and he's my manager. So yeah, thanks, Dad.
The boys as well, i.e. Sam Grafton, were talking about you always losing at heads up at the LAPC. I think they said. Is it good to get that off your shoulder as well?
Yeah, I always get some stick for losing heads up. Actually, I looked at the statistics the other day and I've actually won a lot more heads up online than lost. So it's a bit of a myth, I think.
And will Liv be happy with you? Do you get a badge?
Yeah, I think like if I hadn't won that one, she might never put me in again. So phew, I get to play again.
What can we see you at next? Where are you going to be?
Probably at the World Series. Yeah, I'll be there from the start. So I'm just playing that. Before that, I'm playing Scoop in Mexico right now. Just playing every day, like 15-hour days every day. So
with an enchilada.
A lot of poker. Huh?
With an enchilada.
Yeah, a few enchiladas. I think a few margaritas this week, maybe.
I think you deserve a margarita now after securing 7 points for the London Royals. That means as well, you're really close now. You're shortening the gap with you, and I think you might be in front of Paris now. We'll have to check the standings, but it's definitely getting closer to Moscow. You might be able to secure the first place by the end of the week, perhaps.
Yeah, like I think we got off to a bit of a bad start, but I think we're coming on strong now and put up a few good results in the last few weeks. So yeah, hopefully onwards and upwards. Okay,
thank you so much for chatting in. Congratulations again. Good luck with Scoop.
Thank you, Laura.
And we'll see you in Vegas.
Yeah, all right, bye.
Bye. Chris Moorman there, winning that second Six-Max match of the Eurasian Conference, 7 points for the London Royals and Liv Barry's team. We're going to be taking a look at the standings very, very shortly, but let's go back to the desk and take a look at one key hand from that match.
Thanks, Laura. Can I just say, I mean, Chris Moorman, you win $12 million online. 13, what is it? It's something silly.
17 or something,
it's
yeah.
between 11 and like $28 million. And it's just like, he's just so likable. Like when I was winning a lot, like
You were a
everyone
huge douche.
hated me.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my
yeah.
god, and I hated myself. So yeah, I mean, you just can't help but like. the
Yeah,
guy.
of course.
Sweetheart.
He's a guy that really, really is passionate about
Yeah.
the game, isn't jaded, still
No.
loves it, still famously regs everything right the way from $20 comps
Yeah.
to the highest
But
buy-ins
let's get to the hand that involves him and Luneau, the two winners of this match, because this was a really, really interesting hand that I think we didn't really get to properly appreciate the first time. Sam, take it away.
Yeah, so Chris Moorman told us on the stream that he was going to limp all of his hands against Luneau, trying to keep the pot small against a very, very talented cash game player in Alexandre Luneau. Limps in with the playable King 9 suited, also a hand which you can call a raise with. And as Chris articulated, this is a board which, I mean, in general, favours the player who checked. I'm not sure that's a huge concern here. I think it's fine to bet out with the King 9. But with King High being the best hand some portion of the time, it doesn't hurt to check call it. Check calls with the best hand and the flush draw, and then this turn card comes off. And
Things get
Luneau,
interesting.
yeah, Luneau turning the open-ended straight draw and recognizing that Chris has a pretty capped range here. So Chris isn't going to check a set of sevens, a set of threes, two pair with almost any frequency in a spot. So Alexandre Luneau, also Chris doesn't check 4-6, for instance, the nuts in this spot. So Luneau, with the 4 in his hand, elects to bet really big on the turn. I actually predicted this. I think this line that Chris takes against a lot of tournament players, you're going to see half pot bet here. Luneau recognizing that he is the one with more nut combos in this spot. The nut hands, the two pairs, the straights, fires out really, really big to pressurize Moorman's range.
Yeah, obviously tough spot for Chris on the turn, but he still has 2 overs, obviously, and the flush draw. But the river is what makes it really, really interesting because obviously, Chris Moorman makes his hand on the river as in top pair. Luneau takes his time and then bets exactly half pot on the river, so methodical. And although this might look like, he got caught with his hand in the cookie jar, this is a bad bet. If the river was not a 9 or a king, he wins this pot pretty much every other time.
Yeah,
and that's what makes it so great. Or a club, of course.
Yeah, Luneau has to pick a small sizing because one of the reasons you could pick a big bet sizing on the turn is, let's suppose you have a hand like 3 deuce. You're very incentivized to bet really big for protection when there's 2 flush draws and multiple straight draws out there. On the river, and Luneau doesn't want to be unbalanced just because he has 10 high. You're not really incentivized to bet very big because the board is now stable. If you have a set, if you have 6-4, nothing can come to outdraw you. If you have 6-8, you have the nuts and you want to get paid. So Luneau
7-5,
picks
you
a
can have
half
anything
pot
too, right?
bet sizing, which obviously for Chris Moorman is an easy call when he rivers. Top pair, but really, really interesting hand, particularly to see 2 of the strongest players in this format today go head-to-head in a big pot. And actually, although Moorman took the chip lead with this hand, it was Luneau who went on to win this match. Chris Moorman having to wait till the second match of the day to seal a victory for the London Roars.
And great to see Luneau coming back from that 18K. Masterclass performance.
Absolutely
from both
fantastic.
of them. Really, and I mean, Sorel, Mizzi, and of course Igor Yaroshevsky are pretty darn good at poker, but I am inclined to agree with you that right now Chris and Alex, I think they've just been showing such good stuff here at the GPL. When we get a little more from Sorel, he might push for to be the best player in that heat. But right now, those guys, fantastic stuff.
Yeah, great stuff all around. Let's go over to Laura, and she's going to tell us where those results leave us with the standings.
Indeed, I am. So 7 points for the London Royals. Let's see where that leaves them in the Eurasian Conference. Because 7 points in London, I believe that's going to put them up there. They are still behind Paris, though. That was because Luneau put in such a sterling effort in both his 6 max matches today. So just 2 points behind Paris now. But Wolverines still flying high there in the table. The gap is being lessened somewhat, though, between first and second place now. So Wolverines on 84 points, Paris on 78. London Royals on 76, Hong Kong Stars there on 68 points. But what a phenomenal appearance from Guodong there. 2 second places, so he picked up a lot of points in those 2 games from the Eurasian Conference. The Berlin Bears on 55 points, but we had a great time with Sorel, Mizzi, didn't he? He gave us some great viewing with his stories. And the Rome Emperors, oh dear, what a sad tale that is all about. Todd Brunson only able to pick up 1 point in both of his matches there. And as a result, it means the Rome Emperors stay right down there at the bottom of the table. It will do until tomorrow. Dario Sammartino will be back in action. Heads up tomorrow, though. And I'm pretty sure if there's one guy that can do it, it could be him. We will be coming back to you very, very soon, in around 7 minutes time, in fact. So stay with us here at the Global Poker League. If you want to check out any hand replays, head over to our website, www.globalpokerleague.com. We have 2 more exciting Six-Max matches coming for you from the Americas Conference. And we have some great players lined up, like Fedor Holt, Mike McDonald, Scott Wrecking Ball, as Griffin liked to say, will be back as well. So do join us back then, and we will bring you some more top-class poker.